It was a Saturday afternoon when my wife, Anna, waltzed through the door, smiling as if she'd just had the best day of her life. She carried a small paper bag with what looked like leftover dessert and hummed a tune. I asked where she'd been, and she casually said, "Oh, just a lunch date with an old friend." Something about the way she avoided eye contact told me there was more to the story. For months, I had been noticing small changes: late nights at work, sudden bursts of happiness followed by excuses to go out alone, and a new perfume she only wore when she went shopping. I had brushed it off at first, convincing myself it was just a rough patch. But today, that smile looked different. It was smug, almost daring me to question her. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I pretended everything was fine, took the dessert she offered, and even thanked her. Inside, I was already putting my plan into motion. I had a suspicion about who she was meeting, and I was determined to confirm it without letting her know I was onto her. The next week, I told her I was working late on Friday. In reality, I parked my car 2 blocks from the cafe she liked to visit. Sure enough, Anna arrived, dressed in the same outfit she wore for our early dates, the one she knew drove me crazy. But it wasn't me she was meeting. It was her old friend, a man I recognized from her old photos, a college fling she once swore meant nothing. They laughed, touched hands, and even kissed lightly before heading out together. My chest tightened, but I stayed calm. I snapped pictures with my phone, making sure the evidence was undeniable. This wasn't just a casual lunch date. It was an affair. When she got home later that night, she gave me the same sweet smile and asked about my busy day. I told her it was exhausting but productive, hiding the storm brewing inside me. Over the weekend, I quietly made copies of our bank statements, house deed, and every important document. She had no idea I was preparing for war. By Monday, I had visited a lawyer. We went over my evidence, and he assured me the photos would help in court, especially since our state considered infidelity in divorce settlements. I felt a strange mix of sadness and satisfaction. Sadness for what we once had, satisfaction that she wouldn't walk away unscathed. That Friday, I came home earlier than usual, holding a small envelope. Anna was in the living room, scrolling on her phone. Without a word, I placed the envelope on the table. Inside were the photos of her and her lunch date, along with a printed copy of our divorce papers. Her smile froze. She looked up at me, eyes wide, and stammered, "It's not what it looks like." I told her calmly, "Anna, I know exactly what it is. And I'm done." She started to cry, begging me to talk about it, saying it was just a mistake. But I had already made up my mind. That night, I didn't stay at the house. I went to a friend's place, leaving her alone with her thoughts and the cold reality of what she'd lost. The next morning, I woke up to a dozen missed calls and desperate messages, but I ignored them. My lawyer had already filed the paperwork. A week later, she tried to approach me at work, saying we could fix things, that she was confused and lonely. I told her she was only lonely because her backup plan had failed. Apparently, her old friend didn't want a serious relationship. That hit her harder than I expected. When the divorce was finalized, I kept the house and most of our joint savings. She left with her clothes, her car, and nothing else. Watching her pack was strangely satisfying. She kept glancing at me as if hoping I'd change my mind, but I didn't. Months have passed since then. I focused on my career, traveled a bit, and started seeing someone new, a woman who respects me and values honesty. Anna, on the other hand, moved into a small apartment and works extra hours to get by. Sometimes, I think back to that day she came home smiling after her lunch date. She thought she was untouchable, that I'd never find out. But I did, and I made sure she regretted underestimating me. In the end, the sweetest revenge wasn't yelling, fighting, or even the legal win. It was walking away with my dignity intact while she was left to face the consequences of her choices. She lost not just her husband, but the life she took for granted. And that's a loss she'll never forget.